How you doing?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for coming on the
Okay.
show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's a great timing. So
Yeah.
I'm super excited.
So what I'll do is
So you're located where?
I'm in Orange County, California.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it's like near Newport Beach area.
Okay.
Kind of,
How's the
kind
real
of,
estate out there?
yeah, kind of near LA. The real
Oh,
estate is
okay.
crazy expensive out here, like crazy expensive.
Really?
Yeah, Orange County
So
is so,
I mean, what are y'all approaching on investing?
we invest out of state.
It's not state.
That's
And you know
kind of
what?
where
That's why I tell a lot of people, I mean, social media have just connected the world, and everyone that you do business with is not really in your backyard. And a lot of people, I tell people, I say, I think California is too expensive. I think when you really run the numbers out there, I have one investor do Airbnb, and he's making probably 70,000 a month off his Airbnb. But I think it's just strategies out there. And I
yeah.
tell people all the time you may want to just find another area where it makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. And it's funny because like you listen to like Bigger Pockets and you listen to all these different like gurus out there and people that say like, oh, you want to invest where you live. And I had a
Right.
conversation with Aisha Selden and she's like super duper killing the game. She owns like 25 properties in Philly. And she was like, if I lived in California, I wouldn't invest in California either. So yeah,
No way.
we're
Because it's a numbers game and the numbers don't make sense.
at all, unless you're moving millions.
Especially holding. I mean, maybe flipping do.
Yeah,
It's still
exactly.
expensive. But holding
That's really where you can
is still
see a lot of you can make your money flipping, but the crazy part about it is you're still looking at like a $2 million property. So you buy it for 2 million, you flip it for whatever you flip it for, but you still got to get
right.
that 2 million.
You're right. You gotta get that 2 million. See, it's just yeah, I can see it.
So eventually we'll get there.
I can see that a
Eventually
lot.
we'll be able to do wherever we want to do it. But in the meantime, we're building out of state.
Right.
Yeah.
Smart. Absolutely.
So I'm going to kick off the intro right now. This is the Todd Millionaire Podcast. This is episode number 47. My name is Charles Oglesby. I'm the founder and the director of the Todd Capital Investment Club. We have over 200 members nationwide. Also the founder of Todd Acquisitions, which is our crowd-funded real estate venture firm. Crowdfunded real estate firm, basically. So we just funded cash flowed our first property. We're looking at property number 2. The goal is 25 properties in the year 2018. I know that we're going to be able to get that goal just because of the knowledge, the connections, and the resources we're coming in contact with just in that short span of time we've been doing this. So thank you all for tuning in. You know that the purpose of this show is to share the stories of successful African-American investors and business owners so people can see examples of success and learn that business and investing are the keys to financial success and generational wealth. With us, we have a special guest. It's somebody I've been following on Instagram for a while. Her name is Reunica Williams. She is a real estate investor in Atlanta. I will let her give herself a better introduction, but from what I've seen over the past like month or so, she's been killing the game, doing some huge wholesale deals, making a ton of money. So I wanted her to get on the show and kind of talk about the great things she's doing, the great things she's seeing in Atlanta, and also just her goals for the future. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Todd, for having me. I guess we've been kind of following each other, and it's it's kind of like social media make you feel like you know people.
It does.
But I've been following you as well, and I'm definitely a fan of your movement. I think I like a lot of your posts when I see it scroll down my screen because we talk the same language.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just happy to be a part of this show, to be able to share my story and the things that I was taught over the 10, 15 years I've been doing this business. So one of the ways I started this business when I was 17 years old. I decided, it's one of those things where you have something inside of you and you really don't know where it comes from because there is no blueprint around you who could show you or who could give you some type of blueprint to look up to. So here I am 17 years old and I decided to go to school for real estate when there was no one in my family, no one that I knew in my life at the time that was in real estate. So I remember having this conversation with my mom and I told her, I said, I want to go to school for real estate. And I always been good with numbers. My mom been a tax accountant for years. And she immediately shut it down. And I never forget that conversation. And she immediately told me that no, she don't think it's a great idea. It's commission-based. You need to go to school to get you a secure job. And it's commission-based. You can't make any money with it. My 17-year-old mind at the time was like, impossible. How can you not make money with something that everyone needs? You know, and that was my thought process. So just in case she was right, is one of the reasons why I coupled my real estate degree with my accounting and finance degree. So, you know, mom may be right. You never know. At 17 years old, you don't know who right. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I was always good with numbers. So when I coupled that, I think it wasn't for my mom to shut me down. It was for her to expand my understanding of what it is that I need to be doing. It was more than real estate. It was about finance. It was about money.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize that accounting and finance and real estate are very closely related. There's a lot of accounting and finance. There's a lot of finance in real estate. And so I think it's super cool. I had this conversation with the young man, and he told me, like, he was like, and my parents are telling me to do this, but I want to do this. The first thing I told him was double major. And he was like, I don't want to double major. But I was like, that's how you hedge your bets. It's like you have your security. You also have the upside potential.
Right.
And so, where did you go from there after you finished college? What did
I don't finish college. I bought my first house. I mean, I was super excited. I was 20 years old, and I think my mindset about money just opened up, and I began to question why. Why are people working all their lives? Why are people taking this route and it's not adding up? Why are people working 40, 50 years to live off half of their income? And why 90% of people is living off half of their income? And why would I think that I won't be a part of that 90% if I take the same route, do the same thing, and think I'm gonna get different results? So, and that's just the, I guess the numbers in me, and started to think about it from a numerical standpoint of that everyone that's taking this route is just not adding up for them. So at age 21, I began to go out there. I was hungry. I bought my first house. And I'm going to tell you, it probably was the most disastrous deal I ever did a day in my life. I lost $50,000 plus at 21 years old. Bought a property that a person didn't own. A person wholesaled it to me for way more than what it was worth, but I was too naive to check the comps. I went by whatever they said it was. That I overpaid for it. I used this same strategy that I implement in today's world. I bought my first house at 21 off credit cards. And I tell people I have this program now called gap funding, where people can use leverage their credit and get enough money to go out there and buy real estate. And I tell people all the time that I bought my first property at 21 like this, but I didn't know what I was doing at the time. Someone held my hand and took me around to these different banks, but I was so young that I didn't even think about it. Oh, you want $40,000 for that house? I got $60,000 in these cards. I began to get these cash advance, and I gave them the money and I bought it. But what I didn't realize that it was like 2009, and it was the middle of the crash. Mm-hmm. And I ended up selling it for $8,000, so I lost a lot of money. But it just taught me a lot. So I began to make a lot of mistakes. Let's put it like that. That's what happened next. Is I was super excited, and I began to make a lot of mistakes in real estate. But I'll be honest with you, those mistakes is inevitable. Like I needed to make those mistakes.
Absolutely.
I had to make those mistakes. And I'm gonna tell anyone that's listening to this podcast, there's no way around those mistakes. But you can curve your learning curve with the right mentor. The right mentor, you can curve your learning curve. So after I began to implement and do all that, I went back to school at 26 and I got my master's in finance. Because I just felt that I wanted to learn this finance on a mastery level. It's deep. Money is deep. Money makes the world go round. But most importantly, I realized that it was so deep that the average mind would never understand it. So now I want to use what I was learned, simplify it, so everyone would be able to understand how to get their money right and build wealth.
Very cool. And so, I mean, obviously you're successful now, and you bounced back from that loss. Can you talk to us a little bit about how you bounced back from that loss?
I bounced back because I knew it was for me. Yeah. A lot of times when you have failure and if you chasing money and you have those failures, when you fail, you'll think your whole world is done and you'll give up. But when it's bigger than money, when you feel that in your heart, you know it's for you. It's just that essence of that spirit inside of you that tell you that this is for you, weather the storm. But at the end of the day, is that a lot of people get lost in that storm because they really chasing the wrong. You fail, you give up. So I just encourage people, if you know something for you, continue to go through it, dance in the rain. because that rain and the bad times will always be directly correlated to you becoming victory over whatever situation you have. But if you don't believe during that time of failure, there's a possibility that you will give up.
Yeah.
You gotta believe in you. When you fail, and what I mean by that is failure is nowhere around failure. I don't care what it is that you do. There's no success story without failure. So understand that failure is part of the process. And if you feel this for you, continue to weather the storm. Yeah. And that's what I did.
Awesome.
And I never gave up.
So I was listening to this podcast a while back, and he was asking people like a bunch of negative questions. And I think there's always, like we've been talking about in this podcast, is there's positive in your negatives. And so I kind of want to talk about some of the mistakes that you made, but the lessons that you learned from those mistakes.
Okay. One of my biggest mistakes I made with my first deal was I didn't use an attorney. The guy who sold me the property, he wholesaled it to me. I really think the property was worth about $5,000. I ended up paying, I want to say $45,000 for it. But when I did that, I'm gonna say it was around the time. See, here in Atlanta, there's a lot of crooks around this time where people was, just doing the most out here in real estate. And one of the things that a man called me, I think we had it under contract for like 50. And he called me, he said, hey, if you pay me off right now, I'll let it go for 35. So that's what I did. I went to the bank, I got the money, and I pulled up on him in the parking lot. Here I am, 19 years old. He told me to meet him in this parking lot, and I gave him the check. He gave me the key. I thought I owned the house. Until I realized that he didn't own it. And it was just a messy deal. And so I encourage people, don't ever buy a piece of property without using an attorney. I don't care if someone's telling you, oh, we can just deed it over. Okay, well, deed it over through my attorney.
Yeah.
Because there's always something that you can't see if you're not doing your due diligence. And it's an attorney's job to do your due diligence with the title, with everything. Always use an attorney.
I think that's huge. The reason why I think that's important is because a lot of people are hearing like real estate this, real estate that. And so they could hop in and they could be eager to do a deal, eager to make the money, and they could skip some steps.
Right.
Skip those steps, it'll come back to bite you.
Absolutely. Every time.
What's something else that you learned in those beginning stages?
In those beginning stages, I learned the couple things. I had book knowledge. I was going to school for real estate and ended up getting a bachelor's in real estate here in Georgia State, coupled with the finance bachelor, and as well. And I realized that once I got in the real world, it was a little bit different from those simulations in the book. Mm-hmm. So all the individuals that's going to all these gurus that come into their city, and they're charging them $30,000, $10,000, $15,000, $30,000 worth of book information. I just want to encourage you that that's half of it. The other half is the experience of doing. The experience of doing, and a lot of times if you get with a mentor, they'll hold your hand through those experiences until you begin to understand how to do it yourself. So you're either going to make a lot of mistakes and cost yourself a lot of money, or you're going to pay somebody or connect with a mentor that's going to help you not make those same mistakes they made. Yeah. And honestly, my business didn't begin to take off. I was just hungry. I was eager, and I was learning just a whole bunch of stuff. But my business didn't begin to take off until I met one of my mentors about 6 years ago. When I met my mentor, he had no book knowledge, but he had 20 plus years of just hands-on experience. And when I coupled that book knowledge with that hands-on experience, it became lethal. because that hands-on experience is kind of like the book versus street. you got street sense or you got book sense. But when you have book and street sense, in the essence, it can be powerful.
Yeah. And
so one of the things I learned is how powerful and how important a mentor is. And this is just not real estate. Whatever you're trying to accomplish in life, whatever business that you want to implement, connect with someone that's already moving and shaking. Yeah. Connect with someone that already made a lot of mistakes. Ask them if they can mentor you. Don't be afraid to pay a couple $100 or $1,000 or $2 for that mentor's time. Because I promise you, you don't want to be the one that loses $50, $60, $100,000 on top of the tuition I had to pay back as well. You know, that mistakes can be truly costly. And we think we can YouTube our way to something great. And YouTube and Google is all good. But having someone you can call up when you need them in the midst of a situation is priceless. Yeah. And those are very important pieces. So
I think we are pretty familiar with who your mentor is. And I went to a few of his corner classes. I think it's awesome. I want to talk to you about like how you.
No, he's not my mentor.
Oh,
that's not my mentor.
Okay.
Absolutely not. We probably mentored each other.
Really?
On some things, but no, he's not my mentor. I have one of my great mentors, a guy named Don Jacobs. Mm-hmm. He's a powerhouse in Atlanta. He owns an organization called House Jerk, or co-owns.
House what again?
It is House Jerk, and in this organization, we pretty much teach people how to buy and sell real estate with absolutely no money down. And I can honestly say, when I met him, he began to teach me what he knew, and that was over 20, probably more like 25, 26 years right now of experience. And you can never put a price tag on an individual that had that much experience and what it is that you're trying to do.
So what did you do?
I just want to correct that. I love who you were speaking of, but no, he wasn't my mentor. I think we probably mentor each other more than.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to talk to you about how your deals transformed. Like, can you give me an example of a deal that you did after you got the mentor and how that was performed better?
To be honest with you, before I got my mentor, I was pretty much corporate real estate. You know, I became once I lost so much money with my first 2 deals. I didn't tell you about the second deal, but I lost a lot of money with my first 2 deals. It pushed me to go get my real estate license. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get my real estate license. So I began to learn it that way. Before I met my mentor, I didn't know anything about wholesaling. To be honest with you, I have over 4 years of experience in real estate, and what they taught me at Georgia State was income producing properties, but it was more commercial. It was more about shopping centers, apartment complexes. It wasn't about residential at all. Mm-hmm. So everything I learned in residential, I just thought if I knew commercial, I definitely can just jump out there and jump into residential. But I didn't know anything about wholesaling. I didn't learn wholesaling until I met my mentor about 6 years ago. When I was his realtor and he was wholesaling about, I don't know, we probably did over 100 deals in a year. And I'm sitting here watching him make so much money. And now here I am making this 3%. And he's making 15, 20, 30, 40,000 off these deals. I'm like, what it is that you're doing? And I began to just follow him. And he began to teach me. And with that being said, it just opened my realm of understanding real estate, and it really gave me the overall every aspect of real estate when I incorporated that street knowledge of wholesaling. Wholesaling is something that is not implemented in school. It's one of those things that you have to get through a podcast or go to these gurus who come into the city and teach you these things. These things are not taught in school. Mm-hmm. So that's how things change, is the fact that I became an investor, a real investor, when I met my mentor. Because what I began to do when I lost my first deals, I was just testing the waters, but I didn't really have anyone to walk me through really flipping properties. Mm-hmm. So that's really what I learned. I learned when I met my mentor, is that I really began to understand every aspect of real estate.
Yeah. And so for people who don't know what wholesaling is, can you tell us like the definition of wholesaling and how that process works?
Wholesaling is basically AKA brokering a deal. It's I'm gonna simplify it in a term where I don't care, it's not even about houses. It's the same thing that everyone does. And it's the same thing that many businesses do today. A lot of businesses are middlemanning things. And I don't know if you ever seen the post that pops up now where they're saying that it's a new wave in business, where these businesses own something, but they don't own it. Where Uber is the #1 taxi company that don't own cars. Where Bitcoin now is becoming a bank with absolutely no money. Where Airbnb and all of that is one of the largest accommodations, but own no homes. At the end of the day, all these people are doing is brokering deals. All they're doing is connecting the buyer and the seller together. So wholesaling is you connecting the buyer and the seller to a product, and you make money in between. So when we talk about real estate, it's pretty much you're going out there finding a property. When you find this property, you finding a seller. That someone has to own the property. And when you find the seller most likely wants to sell. Say, for instance, the seller wants to sell. So that means that all you have to do is go find a buyer who want to buy. And when you find a buyer who want to buy, you make money in between. So let's talk numbers. Let's say, for instance, I find a seller that wants to sell a property for $40,000. They have this 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 4-sided brick for $40,000. I have an investor that say that if I find any 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 4-sided brick, he will pay up to $60,000. That lets me know his numbers already. So that means that when I find this for $40,000, and if I know my end buyer gonna sell it, that my end buyer willing to pay $60,000, that means I just made a $20,000 spread. I just wholesaled a house, and take the house out of it. People are doing this right now via social media where they're doing these drop ships of products where they don't own the product, but if you buy it, they'll send it to you. So it's all it is brokering a deal, bringing a buyer and a seller together.
So can you talk to us about what your best and most memorable wholesale deal looked like?
Talk numbers?
Yeah, talking numbers.
I personally don't like talking about my personal deals. Every now and then I do post them.
Okay.
One of the ones that I just did like a week ago, I picked it up for $32,000. I had this on my, I don't really like posting because I don't want people to think money, but I do sometimes post them via my story. So you have to catch it. If you miss it 24 hours, you miss it. And that's fine. But recently I just had a deal where we picked it up for $32,000. And it was in a hot neighborhood. I knew that it was really worth $100,000. But I put it out there for $79,000, and I ended up getting $70,000. No, I put it out there for $69,000 and ended up getting $72,000 for it. Because it was actually priced lower than what other properties was priced in the area. Mm-hmm. But since I had such a big spread in there, I was able to sell it at a price where it becomes a no-brainer to my end buyers. So that's one of my deals I just did last week. And that was a 10-day deal. I closed it in 10 days, picked it up for $32,000, put it out there to my buyers. I didn't market it all over the place. Sometimes when you've been doing this for a long time, you're going to get this buyers list. And if we have time, I'll talk to you about reverse wholesaling. But this buyers list. And I put it out there to my buyer, and then people immediately came back with numbers and wanted to purchase it. So within 10 days, I made a good amount of money. Y'all do the numbers. And it was only $100 out of pocket. So I paid it up for $32,000, sold it for $72,000, and I only had $100 out of pocket, which was the earnest money that I gave to the seller.
Nice. And so how are you finding deals that you can get for that big of a discount?
Those deals come directly from the seller, come directly from the homeowner. When I'm very great at wholesaling other wholesaler deals. Like I was wholesaling another wholesaler deal all day. Mm-hmm. But you're going to find your biggest spread when you find your own property. Why? Because you're going to get directly from a homeowner that technically may not know the value of their property. And it's not for you to tell them the value of their property. I want to give you what you want for it. If you want to give me $20,000 and your property really worth $100,000, guess what? I'm gonna give you that $20,000. You're gonna be happy. I got a house. I'm happy. You happy because you got the number that you want. So it's up to the homeowner to know their own value. Yeah. So you will find your biggest and largest spreads when you begin to market directly to the homeowner and getting it directly from the homeowner, and not a wholesaler and not a bank, because banks know the value of these properties now. I don't know what people say. Everybody want a foreclosure. I'm like, these foreclosures are market value. These not, so foreclosure are great, but at the same time, if it's market value, you just got a market value deal. Yeah. You want a deal. Only a deal is a deal.
Only a deal is a deal.
Yeah.
So when you start talking to an owner, do you ask them how much they want for the property?
Yeah. The person who's speaking numbers first, when the ones I'll always lose. I would never tell you. I would never offer you money. I would never offer you a price first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the person that speaks money first will always lose. If you're thinking 50 and they thinking 25, you just lost. You just lost. So you want them to tell you first, so you know what they're working with. And if they're around 25, you're gonna, and you was really thinking 50 and they're around 25, you're gonna make them feel like 25 is a little high, but you know what? I think I can do it. But it's real though. It's real. But yeah, never speak numbers first. Never speak numbers first.
So how are you finding the leads to even approach about buying their property?
It's knowing your pockets. It's marketing in those areas. It's having a field team. I have a field team. If I understand the pockets, and I have a team of young men that like to go out in the field and make money, and I pretty much intern and teach them what I know and help them to be able to implement it on their own. So to be honest with you, it's no one-man army. I could never go out and do all the business myself, so I have to build a team. So my field team is very, very important. This is a team that we meet weekly. And I tell them, hey, this is the pocket that we're focusing on this week, this month, whatever. Every weekend, we have so many letters that need to go out. We have so many flyers and bandit signs that need to go in those areas. And then also just networking with other wholesalers, networking with everybody, letting people know what you do. I connect with a lot of wholesalers. And I'm at a point now that I'm connected so deep with wholesalers that and other field people, that I wake up every week, I'm getting 20, 30 deals that's not even from our team, from other wholesalers. So the more that you connect with other people who's doing this too, you will begin to get deal flow. The more that you go out there and implement your field team, you could be your field team. You can start off at your field team. I started off at my field team. But eventually you're going to realize that there's people that want to learn this business too. And if we all come together and we all form a team, we can all make some money together. So the most important is the team. Marketing is a lifeline of this business. You got to market. You have to market.
Nice. And so what does marketing look like to you?
Marketing is life. Is lifeline. Yeah. Marketing is the lifeline.
So how many phone calls, how many letters, how many door knocks? On
a monthly basis, you want to do no less than 1,000 letters. No less than 1,000 letters in areas that we want to implement. I'm beginning to build a strategy now where, since I am going into Black neighborhoods, I'm putting my face on my postcards to let them know that, hey, I'm just another young woman that's looking to go out here and invest in your neighborhoods. I'm not this guru and this expert and these people that's coming in trying to take advantage of us. I'm on your side. So use what you got.
Absolutely.
Put those postcards out there. Do 500 to 1,000 postcards a month. Break it down by week. If I want to do 1,000 a month, I mean, that's 250 a week. I want to implement 100 vending signs a week. That's 400 a month minimally. If you do that for 6 months to a year straight, you'll take over whatever area that you're investing in, that you're focusing on. It's that strategy. It's that marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And you begin and building relationships with people in the area. Believe it or not, that property I just talked to you about was a relationship that I built from some people that have been living in these areas for years. So don't be afraid to go out into these communities and build a relationship with the people in these communities, because these are the people that are the fabric of these communities. These are the people know when so-and-so dies on the block and the house is ready to go. These are the people that know, these are the people that know their community. So get to know people in the community, because when a house is being ready to be sold, you're gonna be the first one they call.
Absolutely. Man, so in the beginning of this conversation, we talked earlier today, and you really wanted to share with people the fact that they can start with what they have. So can we kind of talk about that, and how somebody who has little to no savings, little to no net worth, not necessarily the best credit score, how can they get started and how can they become successful?
Absolutely. I'm glad we're going to touch on this. Most importantly, everyone must understand that you have everything you need within you to get started. You have everything you need within you to get started. But if you never get started, people cannot come into your life to help you on your journey. There's divine appointments on everyone's journey that is to help them finish and continue to implement whatever vision that they have within them that they're trying to accomplish. So we must know that we don't have it all, but we have everything we need. Mm. And when it comes to real estate, one of the ways that you start with nothing is understanding the power of your credit. Your true financial power is your credit, not the cash in your pocket. It's your credit. Your financial power is your credit. So understand that you can have $0 in your pocket with an 800 credit score. You can go get money from any bank. I had a man at 21 years old right in front of the house that I bought. I'll never forget. I bought this house and began to talk to some of the neighbors that was outside. And this man was, he was something. I wasn't Eastern Star, but whatever. He was just a man with so much knowledge. And he told me, and I'll never forget it. He said, with good credit, you don't have money problems. And I'll never forget that. With good credit, you don't have money problems. So I'm here to tell you that in a matter of 2 to 3 months, anyone's credit can be turned around. So understand that your true financial power lies within your credit, because your credit is going to give you the resources, which is the money you need to invest in your real estate project or your business. Your credit. You think you're going to save your way to being able to start that business or to be able to invest in that real estate, you may get there one day. But I promise you, it's going to take you a long time to save the money that you really need to go out here and make mistakes in your business and real estate, because mistakes will be made. Me personally, I'd rather take risk with someone else's money than to take risks with the money with my own hard-earned money. So we got to understand the power behind using other people's money. But the only way you're going to use someone else's money if you got good credit. So right now, the focus, in order for you to take your business to the next level, for you to start with limited resources, if you don't have $1 in your pocket, focus on your credit. Do it. If it takes you a year to get your credit right, I promise you it's going to be the best investment of your life, because you're getting your credit right now. We're implementing we call it here at Fortune Key Financials. By the way, I am the CEO and CFO of a company called Fortune Key Financials. But here at Fortune Key Financials, we help individuals be able to receive up to $150,000 if you have at least a 680, 690 credit score and unsecured funding. With this unsecured funding, you're able to take this funding and invest it in a real estate project, use it as the down payment to a hard money loan, which allow you to be able to do it at 100% financing. If you understand, if you finance the down payment and the closing costs and the points and the monthly payments, and then the hard money lender give you money to purchase and buy and rehab them, that means that you just purchased that property at 100% finance. That means that you didn't need $1 out your pocket. If you understand the power of what your credit brings you. And then I further take it to a point, if you got 150,000 and you only need 40,000, you have 100,000. And you only need $40,000 to implement or to take down that hard money loan or purchase that property. That means it leaves you with 60,000 left. That means that 60,000 becomes my cushion. It becomes the money that's going to make those monthly payments so I flip out my deal. So now all I got to do is manage the debt, flip out the deal, and take the upside and the profits, stack it and just continue to stack, continue to use 100% of their money. And one thing that my finance degree taught me is the fact that the acquisition price is not directly correlated to the profits or the return. See, a lot of times people think that I need to spend a lot of money to get a higher return. I can spend $20,000 and get a 20% return, and you can spend $500,000 and get a 20% return. See, I'd rather spend 20. I'd rather have as less money out of my pocket to get the same return than to put more money out of my pocket and get the same return. So understand leveraging your liquid cash. See, and just think about it as numbers. See, a person with $100,000 would say, I'm gonna go purchase this property and use the $100,000 cash in my pocket. But you use that $100,000 cash in your pocket to make $50,000. Yeah. Awesome. But guess what I'm gonna use? I'm gonna use $0 out of my pocket and still make that $50,000. It's just strategies.
Yeah, I think that's huge. The office that I work in, that's all we do. The owner has, he's worth millions, but he never uses his own money.
Never.
It's like he can pay for it in cash if he wants to. He's still going to use the bank money.
Absolutely. One of my high net worth clients, I have helped one of my clients build their portfolio here in Atlanta with over 600 doors. Sold apartment complexes, moved 5 to 10 deals to him a month. And honestly, I sit here and watch him. This man is a multi-millionaire. He will stop a closing for $30. What is that? What is that $30 on the HUD? He will totally to the point where I'm like, I'll just pay for it. But what it taught me was, don't even worry about it, I got it. But what it taught me was that that's how keen they are to their bottom line. Yeah. Is that they don't want to use any of their money, and they are down to the T on every dollar. And people that is not in tune with their money, they're going to think, oh, it's just $1. Oh, it's just 30. But guess what? Over time, not just $1, that just $30 adds up.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. Cool. So can you talk a little bit about gap funding and what you're doing with your company?
Yes, gap funding is an unsecured program. It's a program that pretty much helps an individual to leverage their credit score and their credit in order to receive up to $150,000 of unsecured credit. If you have, this is for starter companies, if you have your finances in order, where you haven't filed your taxes, you do have a business bank account and all of those, you can get up to $250,000 plus. But there's a lot of individuals that don't have those things together, and they need a way to understand what it is I can do if I don't have all my ducks in a row. So this gap funding is for that individual that absolutely just started a company yesterday, and they have no money and they need some. It's for that individual. It's also gap funding is non-financial required to qualify. No income verification, no bank statements, no tax returns, no collateral assets needed to receive up to $150,000. It also comes at 0% interest for the first 15 to 18 months, sometimes up to 24. Wow. So with that 0% interest, what we do at Fortune Keys Financials, we help our clients during the funding stage. When we get them this funding that they need, during that funding stage, we put together a fast track 18-month investment plan. Because the time that we want to take true advantage of with this gap fund is that 0% interest. That's just like having money in your pocket. and you use it as a down payment to a hard money loan. So the first 18 months, our focus is how many deals can you flip in this 18-month period? How many? We also a hard money lender. We also have this loan, this hard money loan where is 100% financing. Well, they'll roll in the down payment, they'll roll in the closing costs, they'll roll in financing. So if you have $100,000 of unsecured credit and they roll everything in, how many deals can you do? You can almost do 2 deals at a time.
Yeah.
You can almost flip 10 deals in an 18-month period.
Yeah.
The key is receive the money that you're receiving, or the funding, the gap funding, use it to build wealth. And then after the 18 months to 24 months, the gap funding becomes emergency line. Because if you did it right, you should have 6-figure lump sum in your pocket from the profits of flipping that many deals. And then you also still have the $100,000 line of credit over here. So would that mean that now you just put yourself in a stronger financial position and really go out there and build wealth, really go out there and start buying and holding and building your buy and hold portfolio. Buy and hold is the power. So we can flip all day. Flipping is no different from someone chasing a sale. Flipping is no different from someone chasing a sale. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, it has to come to a time that every flipper has to begin to hold. Because what I do is teach my clients is that we got to get to a point of residual income. And the way that we get to that point, I want to know how much money it is for you to retire. What money that you need on a monthly basis to retire? Is it 10,000? Is it 15? I know you're in California, y'all. It's a little bit higher over there, but here in Georgia, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month faithfully for the rest of your life. You can do whatever it is you want to do. You can drive whatever car you want to drive. You can pull up whatever house you want to pull up to. You can take as many trips that year you want to take. $20,000 a month.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because
that's 20 houses. That's 25 houses, which is very doable.
A lot of people, what they do is they're focused on that retirement number instead of focusing on producing cash flow.
Ooh,
so it's like if you can get
exactly.
your passive income to be better than your living expenses and you're effectively retired, you can get there a lot faster than you can get there saving 10% of your paycheck for 50 years.
Exactly, which is what they have implemented, we can all come to a conclusion that strategy is not working out for us.
Yeah.
And if we can come to that conclusion, we also need to come to a conclusion that we need new strategies. We need new financial principles. Yeah. We need new things that's going to push us forward and not hold us back.
Yeah.
Those strategies, thinking of, put your money in this 401k, and a whole nother time, we're going to talk about that 401k, but I got to let people know 401k does not add up at the end of the day. It don't add up. It will never add up.
Well, why not? Let's talk about it. Why not?
Okay, I'm going to give you the short version of why your 401k would never add up. 401ks don't add up because majority of people that opt into their 401k do not take it from default era, a default place. And most importantly, that the average return on people 401k that is not actively trading and actively moving things every year, like at the end of every year, you see how good your 401k did. If you need to move into a larger cap or smaller cap or a more riskier cap, you need to be able to do that every month, every year to determine if your 401k is growing. Most people would never understand how to implement that into their 401k. So they just leave it. And when you leave it on this default setting. That default setting on average is giving you a return of 5 to 6%. So to them, they telling you that, hey, at least it's growing. At least you're getting 6%. And you're saying, oh, okay, it is 6%. That's good. But what you fail to realize and what they fail to tell you is that inflation is 3%. So if I subtract inflation from that 5 to 6%, my money moving at 2 to 3%. And what they also didn't tell you is that there's maintenance fees and things that are associated with that. That's a whole nother percent. No, now you're down to 1 to 2%.
Are you the last person here?
I am.
Oh, wow. You're the last person here?
Yeah.
Dang. I'm going to wrap this up right now.
Okay.
Oh, well, I just got cut short.
No problem. So let me just finish this statement. So after inflation of 3%, when your money is only moving at 5 to 6%, now your money is moving at a 2 to 3%. Mm-hmm. Now, if you subtract maintenance and fees that associate with your 401k, that means that you're really at 1 to 2%. We haven't even subtract taxes because we all know taxes is deferred, right? So you pay your taxes on the back end. So once you do pay your taxes, you almost at a 0% interest.
Yeah.
So really, it's just a bank account.
You bet your whole
so
life.
So it's not adding up. So this is one of the reasons why when mom and dad and grandma and granddad retire, they didn't have enough money because it's not going to add up. It will not add up.
This has been episode 47. We're going to have to make this a 2-part episode. This is a lot of fire content. I have a lot more questions to ask you. Let people know where they can find you really quick.
Yes, you can follow me. I'm very heavy on Instagram at Reunique, REUNEK, REUNEK. From there, just DM me and I'll get you a part of anything else that I got going on. But just follow me via Instagram, REUNEK.
Very cool. Thank you. If you guys have any questions.
Todd. This has been awesome.
Yeah,
this has been awesome. And I hope that the message was received.
I appreciate it. This is Charles Oglesby, also known as Todd Millionaire, signing off.